This is Support is Sexy, episode 498, with Money Chat founder and CEO, Dorethia Kelly. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elaine Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and lessons to help you take your business to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. And if you are a woman entrepreneur who is ready to really scale the way that you reach people with your message, with your products, with your services, with your new book, I want you to consider podcast guesting. Podcast guesting is one of the greatest ways right now to reach audiences that are highly engaged and who are ready to interact with you and your brand, your product, your services, and so on. You must consider podcast guesting. Now, if you want to find out how to be an unforgettable podcast guest, don't worry about it. Just go download my free guide at girlonpodcastgift.com. girlonpodcastgift.com. Learn why podcast guesting is working for so many women entrepreneurs and learn how to be an unforgettable guest for all the right reasons. Now, do yourself a favor and get pen and paper ready because this episode with Dorethia Kelly is chock full of great tips, especially if you are someone who has a business and you're thinking about a business or brand or both, and you're thinking about how to interact with, how to pursue, how to prepare yourself to work with corporate sponsors. Dorethia is the founder and CEO of Money Chat. You might see her on social media, hashtag Money Chat. She is a money coach, but she shares with us her journey going from a single mom at age 15 and feeling like she was always broke and having to hustle to how she read several books, which she mentions in this episode. So you'll want to write those down too. She talks about several books that helped her change her life around, how she began to work with other women and other entrepreneurs and people who just wanted to get their financial lives straight, and then how she grew her brand to the point that now she works with corporate sponsors, or corporate partners, I should say, not sponsors. So we talk about that and dive into that because I think that's something that could be helpful for all of you to hear some insider tips on how to do that. All right. So now, without further ado, Dorethia Kelly. So Dorethia, thank you so much for joining us for an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited as well.
Of course. So our first question, when did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
You know, I was an entrepreneur before I knew what it was, right? Mm-hmm. We all had a hustle, right? So I was always looking for ways to make extra money. I was a single mother with children, but even before that, I babysat to make extra money before I could actually get a real job, So, and as an adult, I sold candles, I made jewelry, I've done a lot. I cleaned houses. That is one of the best ways to make money. I still teach that when I speak. But becoming a financial coach was it for me. When I learned about what that was and I started educating myself, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I knew I wanted to educate people on how to better manage their money. Once I had learned myself, once I found that, I knew that was it. So I'd say that I've always been in love with entrepreneurship, even before I knew what it really was.
Right. As you said, we called it hustle.
Yes.
A long time. That's right. And it still involves very much a lot of that. Now, you mentioned that cleaning houses is something that you advise people to do. What do you mean?
So that was one of the main ways that I made money as a young single mother trying to go to school, working full time. I needed extra money. And you don't have to put any money out. What do? You buy a mop, you buy some cleaning supplies. It's real cheap. You can go to the dollar store and get that and go get busy and just start cleaning people's homes. I cleaned homes. I cleaned offices. When my children were old enough, because I always wanted them to know how to make money, I would take them with me and show them as well.
What kind of work you were putting in, right?
Exactly. And how to make money for yourself if your job is not enough or if you lose your job.
Mm-hmm. There's a way.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your background and where you grew up. Where did this sort of hustle mentality come from?
You know what? My background is hodgepodge. So I grew up in North Carolina. My mother had been stationed there, but she was from Detroit, and she was missing home. She had been away from home for many, many years. So when we were 16, we moved to Detroit. And Detroit has my heart. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny. I'm going to tell you, it was crazy because, that was the rap era, right? That was when rap became big, and I was into rap music because it was called rap before it was called hip hop. I'm just letting everybody know. But I used to say, I want to live in a big city like New York or Detroit. That was really cool for us who were Southerners. And we ended up moving to Detroit when I was 16. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. So that is, my background. But the hustle, I have to say, just was bred. I think that when you grow up with not a lot, the hustle is in you. And I knew I didn't want to be broke. So my mother did the best she could, and she did a good job. But there were many times when there just wasn't money for things. And there's really nothing wrong with that, because I think that helps with the hustle. I knew that I wanted to make extra money. I needed to make extra money. So that's where the hustle came from. I think, a lot of times when things aren't placed at your feet, you learn to hustle.
Mm-hmm. Who would you say were some of your greatest influences outside of hip hop? Who would you say? Or inside hip hop, actually. It doesn't either.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. People, I know that this is everybody's, right? Everybody says this, but it's just really the truth. Oprah Winfrey and Maya Angelou. I have read probably almost all. There probably are only like 2 books of Maya Angelou's that I have not read. I was reading it very young, so I devoured books. And so Maya Angelou was one of the first ones that I started reading. And then Oprah, because I believe, when Oprah first came on, you only saw, there was like Sally Jesse Raphael, there was Phil Donahue, and I watched all that as a kid. I don't know, my mother probably shouldn't let me watch all that, but I watched all that as a kid. So that was what I was used to seeing. So the first time I saw Oprah, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in my living room, sitting on the floor. I sat up on my knees like, who is that? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, she's beautiful. She's smart. She looks like me.
She looks like me.
I'm telling you, and I was blown away, and I was a little girl, and I have been a fan ever since. She came to Detroit in her Live Your Best Life tour, and I did not know about the VIP. A girlfriend blessed me for her birthday. And we just did like the $100 seats. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know. If I had known about those $5,000 VIP seats, I probably would have really been hustling to try to get those seats.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you something. This may sound hokey or whatever, but I was literally in tears that I was in the same room as Oprah. And it just is what she meant to me as a little girl. And as I've grown, and as I watched her grow, and her messages, and her class, how she just rose above everything. So I could go on and on and on, but those 2, there were many, don't get me wrong, but those 2 were always my number one.
So now you had this sort of entrepreneurial spirit ever since you were younger, as you mentioned. Did you know, I should say, that you would become an entrepreneur later, like even before you started doing the things where you were hustling and raising your kids and that kind of thing? Did you have aspirations to be an entrepreneur, your own businesswoman, or what were some of your ideas when you were younger?
The hustle started first out of necessity because I needed money. And then once I learned about entrepreneurship, I knew I wanted to be one. So in my early 20s, I knew the entrepreneurship was for me. But it didn't come out of, I want to be an entrepreneur, because I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until I learned what it was that I was like, okay, right. Yes, I want to own a business. I want to be a world changer. I want to help other people. And then I decided that I would go that route. And then I did some other side hustles, some things just to get my feet wet. I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. At the time, I thought, okay, yes, this is what I'm going to do. But I'd say in my early 20s, mm-hmm. and I decided that I was definitely going to be an entrepreneur.
Now, what would you say kept you motivated during the time that you were that period where you were doing what you needed to do, cleaning houses, etc. And you on your website, you mentioned that you were making ends meet and running on fumes. So I imagine that means
Yes,
you were exhausted during that time,
completely.
and you felt like you were broke too.
I've not felt like I was.
I don't want to project that on you.
I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you. So that used to be my thing. I had my first daughter very young. I was only 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, in my early 20s, my mother had taken care of us. And when I was like 19, I didn't want to be a burden to my mother anymore. And she may not look at it that way, but I wanted to show her that I know I can take care of myself. So I went to school. I wanted to go to school because I needed to make money for my kids. And I was tired. I was broke. The working poor, it's very real. I worked a full-time job, but when you're first starting out, you're not making a lot of money. So I have kids, I got a house, I've got bills, and then I've got some bills I created because I didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
So I was broke and I was operating on fumes because when you work all day, then you go to school all night, then you've got to study after you get the kids off to bed. What is left? I tease and I say I got through college with Mountain Dew. It got me through school,
Mm-hmm.
and then the frustrations that come along with being a single mother. And I never wanted that to be a crutch. I never wanted to be like, oh, I'm a single mother, it's so tough. I was like, look, this just is what it is. And I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to show my girls that you can, create for yourself a tough situation or be dealt a tough situation and still get through it. So that's what it was for me. I was operating on fumes and I was tired a lot. And I was broke, and being broke is hard. I mean, that is it. It takes away because you feel bad. You can't just go to the store. I used to go through Target, and I used to go through the store, and I would just say, one day I'm going to walk in here and I can buy whatever. I'm going to be able to buy whatever I want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the Lord blessed, and he allowed me to be able to get there. But that was through process and education and changing my habits that I was able to get there. So yes, those fumes were very real. And I try to encourage not only single mothers, fathers, anyone that's going through anything like that. I try to encourage them that, it will get better.
And I think too, thank you for sharing that especially things like walking through the Target and feeling like one day I'll be able to buy, whatever I want in here. Because even though you were going through that tough time, feeling obviously working on that a lot, like you said, not feeling broke and also not feeling like you were working a lot. You were working a lot and going to school and doing everything you can and still didn't have the money at that time. But just that little thought of one day I'm going to walk in here and be able to buy what I want. Or one day, sometimes I think those little, at least for me, I feel like those little moments of vision or hope or just holding on to one day, whatever it is, can help you get to that next day at least. What do you think?
I agree 100%. It did help me because I knew that this too shall pass. I knew that I had begun a path to get my finances in order, and one day the ship would right size. I wouldn't be underwater anymore. So you're absolutely right. We have to, I believe in affirmations. I believe in speaking things in, encouraging yourself. People talk about talking to yourself, but talking to yourself is better than going absolute crazy. So you might as well encourage yourself so that you don't feel so bad about your situation.
Right. I say that too about talking to yourself. I said, what's most important is what are you saying to yourself, right?
Yes.
Because we always talk to ourselves, whether it's out loud, or in our minds. But it's like, but what are you saying? Sometimes we talk to ourselves in such mean, evil, nasty ways we would never say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are you saying to yourself is important. Yeah. So talking about the ship right sizing itself with your finances, you mentioned also on your website that there were financial books was something that you were reading during that time that helped you educate yourself on money and eventually turn things around. So I was curious, what are 3 books that you can recommend for anyone listening who might be in a financial rut or feeling like they're working hard and still broke or just want some education around it?
Absolutely. So, of course, first of all, I'm going to recommend my book.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying, I think it's by Toni Morrison. I hope I'm getting it right. If there's a book you haven't read, write it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did with my book. It's called Money Chat, the book, How to Get Out of Debt Successfully, Manage Your Own Money, and Create Financial Security. And it's just real deal, real talk, and with action steps. We all need homework, you know. So I definitely recommend my book, Money Chat, the book. But I have to give credit. I mean, Dave Ramsey literally saved my life, with my financial life, because I was playing around one day on, I think it was Christianity Today's website, but he's on all websites, and I found it, and I didn't know what it was about, and it opened my eyes to what it really meant to live a successful life. So Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover, one of the best books you could ever read. And then Glenda Bridgeforth and her Girl Get Your Money Straight, Girl Get Your Credit Straight. Her and Gail Perry Mason wrote that one, I believe. They're also both, we won't get into this, but it's crazy how those two, I read, idolized them, and now they are very close friends of mine. The only person I have not, no, not Dave Ramsey.
Okay.
He's the only one I have not yet met. Gail Perry Mason and Glenda Bridgeforth. I read their books, watched them. They were virtual mentors to me. And now they are just awesome, wonderful friends of mine who just blessed me so much. So you never know which way things are going to go, but I definitely recommend those books.
Mm-hmm. What's one more?
One more. Oh, there are so many. I like this one. It's called How to Retire Happy. I like this book. I don't remember the author, but I also want you guys to read any book by Ed Slott. He's a retirement expert.
S-L-O-T?
S-L-O-T-T.
Okay.
Read everything he's got.
Okay.
He is awesome.
Great. Excellent resources. So everyone, of course, I'll have links to it, but we wanted to find out from you what you read and what you are reading now or excited about now. So thanks for adding Ed Slott there. We'll make sure we link those. So at what point did you decide to go from the student who's reading the books and all of those things and make this transition to becoming an actual money coach?
At the very beginning. So at the very beginning of discovering a different financial way is what I'll say. So in my early 20s, when I found the Total Money Makeover and started reading that, and then I also, in the church I was attending at the time, they had a lot of financial classes. So I attended those classes, and I said, you know, I want to teach people how to manage their money. So when I made that decision, I spent 3 years studying, working on my own, getting my finances in order. And then I launched after that third year. I wanted to launch the first year, but I was like, Dorethia, you know, we do that a lot. We want to go as soon as we have an idea, but you can't really do that. You've got to work on yourself first, determine a process of how you're going to start a business, learn about business, learn about entrepreneurship, so that when you launch, you can be on some solid ground. So I did that. I got I'm not going to say that my finances were completely in order. I was completely out of debt when I started my business. That's not the case, because it takes a while to dig that hole, and it takes a while to dig out of it. Mm-hmm. But I was on a good track. I had a decent income to where I was not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. And I had researched and done my homework and attended seminars, and I was ready to start my business. So I started by doing speaking engagements. I was speaking for free initially. I don't do that anymore, although I get a lot of requests.
Right. That's a great way to start. Where were you speaking free? Was it at certain events where you
community
your audience there?
Yes, my heart is with the community. That is where I started. They have supported me, and that is where our financial literacy is so needed. So I would go to organizations and offer my services. I created financial presentations, and I would go to them and say, I'll bring this presentation to your group. They would provide the group, and I would do my sessions. And that's how I honed my speaking skills.
Yes.
And that's how I was able to learn more about what people really needed.
Yes.
So I started speaking and coaching, and then I was able to tailor my coaching based on what I was hearing at these sessions.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's important, whether a reminder or for people who are hearing it for the first time. The idea of, as you said, either going to organizations or your local chamber of commerce or
Yes.
anything in your area or just an organization that might be interested in what you have to offer. If you have this presentation, you say, I'll come present this for free. And you know,
Yes.
it's an audience that could, as you said, which is so bright, get feedback on what kind of services you're offering, or not even on your services, just what they're looking for.
What
And
they're
then
looking for.
yes, and then it also gets you out there, helps you get practice. So there are benefits in the beginning to speaking for free.
Absolutely. I tell all new speakers to start that way. You can't start charging $1,000 and you've never stepped on stage anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to start at the beginning.
Right.
You know.
Now you work with individual clients and entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
You also partner with large corporations. I saw in different brands and working as
Yes.
a brand ambassador, I know. So what
Yes.
advice do you have for the ladies listening who are obviously mostly entrepreneurs
Yes.
or coaches who want to establish those corporate partnerships?
So my work with corporations. So I come in and do professional development, do an hour session on, I do career and money, and I do personal finance, of course. So that's one piece of it, is the speaking. And getting into that is about creating your one sheet and essentially pitching, finding out who to contact, sending over your information, and following up. That's the speaking piece of it. And then, of course, along with that comes additional networking, going to events where people are at and letting them know what you do, and telling them, briefly about the type of sessions that you offer to speak, and getting their information to follow up. That's that piece of it. With the brand ambassador work.
Before you tell us that, I'm curious for anyone listening. So when you go to these events and you meet people, do you say, I'm Dorethia Kelly, I'm a money coach, these are the kind of services I provide, let me know if you're interested in anything like this, or is it just more casual?
It's more casual. So, excuse me, say we go somewhere and I mean, like, hi, Elaine, how are you? What company are you with? Oh, okay. And then I listen to them, do more listening first, of course, listen to them. And then I'd ask, okay, so you work at GM. Okay. Do you ever go to any of their professional development events? Do you know who's in charge of those? No, I'd like to get your card and maybe you could connect me with that person, and I'll send you some information over. Not too pushy, not your whole, everything you
Here's
do.
my press kit or my information. Yeah.
Exactly. Go to my website and do this and do that. No, that turns people off. But I do ask, a lot of times you go to these events, there are a lot of corporations represented. A lot of times the employees can refer speakers for the professional development. They like to listen to the employees. So that's what I do. And then if you go to, even if it's not on the events, and say you're on their website and you find a contact, you call. It's work. Pitching is work, and you just have to call and try to get to the right person. It's the same thing with pitching universities and other organizations as well.
Right. It's work, but if it's something that you want to do, right, you got to put in that work.
Absolutely. So
and would you say for you too, I've spoken to other women about this, that the gold is in the follow-up?
Absolutely. And here's there's more gold in not getting discouraged by that follow-up. I had a business coaching client, and she had reached out to some people, and when she met them, they were really gung-ho and they wanted her services. She reached out and she didn't hear anything back. And so she said, well, I'm not going to reach out if they don't want my services. I said, that's not the attitude to have. People are busy. I said, do you know how many emails I get? I said, I'm sure people think I'm blowing them off, but I'm not. It just maybe got lost, or maybe I moved on to the next thing. I said, don't be a pest. And here's another trick. So you reach out and you say, hey, I have these money or whatever your services are. If you're interested, let me know. I'd like to discuss it. I'll send you. I'm not going to say I'll send you some information. Always send your information. Send your one sheet. The 20-page press kits and all that's over now. Send a one-pager. If it's front and back, that's okay. But all the little brochures and all that's over now. People aren't reading that stuff. But do a nice one-pager. Front and back is fine. In fact, mine is front and back now. And you always attach that when you reach out. I attach it every time because I don't want to make them go back and look at my other email. So that's the first thing. You attach that one sheeter with a brief message. Please don't send like 10 paragraphs. Send a brief message. I'm a bullet person and I like to see bullets. So that's what I ask people to send me. And You send that. They don't respond. It's okay. You reach out again. I have one person that I have been reaching out to for like a year. She was gung-ho at first. I just pop in periodically. And here's the other thing. When you pop in, don't just pop in asking if they want your services. Why don't you pop in with an informational article that relates to their industry?
Right.
Pop in with something that helps them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Always pop in with something that helps them. And all that does is keep you top of mind, keep you in their inbox, but you're not always pitching. It's not always a pitch.
Right. I love that. And thank you too for saying it's so interesting about the one sheet. I work with different clients with women entrepreneurs, getting them booked on podcasts through a Service Girl on podcast, right? And one of the first thing we develop after the strategy call is the one sheet.
Yep.
Got to send a one sheet with the, people may go to your website, which is great, but if you want to give those highlights, people are short on time. If they're want to have it right there. So pitch that. And a tool that I don't know if you've heard of this one, a tool I often talk about, I'm a big fan of, no affiliate, just really love it and want to refer it to people. That especially I used it very early on before I had a booker who works with me, Jazzy. But when I needed to follow up with people, guests that I reached out to. So if I reached out to you, Dorethia, to be on the podcast, and you, like you said, you get tons of email, you might have missed it. This tool called Rebump. So rebump.cc. Have you heard of it?
I have not, but thank you.
Yeah, so so I email you, right? Then I can set it for, say, a week later. It'll automatically go back out to you and it'll say, hey, Dorethia, just making sure that you saw this email. And then my original will be at the bottom with attachments and etc. And then if you don't respond, then I can do it another week or however you can set the number of days later. And then I can put the next one, hey, just checking in again to make sure this, hey, checking in one last time, however many you want to do it, but always making it like a, hey, just following up, want to make sure
right.
It has increased the return emails by so much. And I always make sure to tell people, no one ever says, oh my God, stop emailing me. Most people are like, oh, thanks so much for sending this again or whatever, or they just respond. But all miss emails. I try to boomerang everything to come back to me. I still miss emails or you forget or something like that. So that is one tool people can look at. It's not expensive and it will show you your analytics on how much of an increase in response that you get. So rebump.cc, everyone, I'll make sure I link to it. I'll send you.
I love that.
I'll send you the link.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's good for, especially if it's not, some professional ones you might want to follow up personally, but it does just make it easier so that you don't, and they might miss it, but you might forget.
Right.
Following up. So,
That's right.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So you were about to tell us, though, about being a brand ambassador. How does that work for you?
Yes. So as you build your following, people will find you. Mm-hmm. So I am referred for brand ambassador work and some corporate partnerships several different ways. A couple times the PR company reached out to me. And I was like, oh, cool. So now I need to find out all these PR companies and start reaching out. And a friend of mine was like, no, Dorethia, they come to you. So they reached out to me for projects that were one was in Detroit. Other times they're trying to get it out on social media. And even the one in Detroit, I did a package deal where they wanted a couple blog posts, some tweets, and they wanted me to be there in the room like a journalist writing about it the day of. So that was a package and you negotiate that. And then there are some sites that you can sign up on and I'll email you the link so you can put that in the show notes. Okay. You can sign up to be what we call an influencer on those sites and then they'll send you jobs. Some of that is good. It depends on your following. So let's talk about the following. If your following is high, of course, you're going to get the most money. So it's like high, medium, low. If it's too low, you're probably going to need to bump it up before you are going to be able to get brand ambassador deals.
Right. So what's considered high in this circumstance?
Well, high is, so for me right now, my social footprint, I guess what they say is a little over 10,000. Across all my platforms. I am mid-level. High is probably like 50 plus. Maybe 25. I can't remember exactly, but just to give you kind of an idea.
Yeah, right.
So high is like that. And then you're getting top dollar for everything because you've got all these interviews, you've got all this social following, you've got a group with 100,000 people in it, that kind of thing. So like for me, it was my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts, and I have an email newsletter, and I have a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. And people who have bigger social influence than me, they make way more, and people who have lower, they make less. So that's what people have to think about as well. That goes for any of your writing projects, anything like that. It's generally based on your influence. And I was going to say your email list, and I'm not going to say you want to, if this is the kind of work you want to add to your pipeline, you do want to increase your email list and get your social influence up. But you can do this work without a large email list. But I do suggest just working on that, because my email list wasn't large when I started at all. But they were looking at my social influence, and that was more important to them. So, and because that crosses, and I had a blog I write. Mm-hmm. So that was the other thing. How do you provide content? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you do webinars? Do you have a blog? And I've been on media, I've been on TV, I do a lot of podcasts. So they saw that I had, this kind of following. But again, it's about your social influence. So the first thing you want, and let me go back to legit social influence. I know people are buying stuff and all this. Right. They know the difference. These people, this is what they do. They know the difference. They can tell by your engagement.
A bunch of bots or something.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They can tell by your engagement. So then you negotiate whatever your package is. So I'm on one platform and I charge, whether it's to tweet or post it on Facebook, this kind of thing. Those are smaller dollars. The bigger dollars come in when you do a package with a brand, because say they want to do a video and they want you to be the face of this video. They want you to do a video series, and you work out a package deal with them. The larger deals, you need someone to help you negotiate. I have not done those huge deals yet, but people are doing 6-figure deals. You need somebody, even like a $50,000 deal
or something like
exactly.
that. Exactly.
Yeah. You need somebody to negotiate that with you. And, but those are good. Those are really good projects.
Yeah, those are all great examples.
And they're fun.
And they're fun. They should.
And they're fun.
And thank you for saying that, because I meant to mention, excuse me, I'm getting excited, I guess, about making sure for everyone listening that the things that you do choose, even if as some people come to you and ask you to be a part of their different projects or brands, that it aligns with what you're doing. Don't just say yes to the money, even if the money is great, right?
That is so true. There are certain things that I don't align with. So for instance, I hate payday loans. Yeah, I will never partner with anybody around payday loans. I don't hate credit cards, but I probably am not going to be the face of a credit card, because I'm trying to help people get out of debt. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Sorry to interrupt. This podcast that I listened to, I won't say the name. I really love this. It's a gentleman. I love his podcast. He recently started doing ads for payday loans, and it turned me off so much. And he's not even a financial, I guess it's just it's advertising, but just brand wise, I just was like, that is not, you know what? I'm going to email him. Maybe he won't care. But as a listener, I just was like, oh, it just felt.
I know. Because you know what that's about. All of this, we have to get sponsorships for our projects, right? That's all it's about. Yeah.
But you want to make sure everyone listening, again, just as you were saying, make sure that it's aligned with what
fits your audience,
fits your audience, fits your brand, fits who you are, your values wise too.
Absolutely.
What would you say are 3 mistakes that you find entrepreneurs make when it comes to we just mentioned one big one, out of alignment, but when it comes to corporate partnerships, sponsors, or brand ambassadors?
Number one would be not adding enough value to the corporation. Mm-hmm. You have to show them how you can get their message out in a way that will grow their brand. That's why they're hiring you. Show that you are worth the price that you're asking. That's first. And in that, be flexible and pleasant to work with. That's always a plus. Be pleasant. Don't be snarky and matter of fact. I see people all the time trying to tell the brand what to do. And I'm like, listen, I will offer advice, I'm in the industry and they're wanting to get their name out there, but I'm going to offer it in a way that is friendly, pleasant, not snarky as if I know everything. So just be pleasant to work with. The other thing that I do that is not popular, I will say that much, is I do more than I'm asked to do. if I'm paid to do a video and a blog post, I'll also do some tweets and post it on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always promote above and beyond what I'm contracted to do because I want them to know that, number one, I believe in the project. I shouldn't be involved if I don't believe in the project.
Mm-hmm.
Even for my speaking engagements, I don't have to promote those, but I do. It helps get my brand out there, shows everybody what I'm doing, but I believe in the project. So I promote it. It's not popular, but that's what I do. And I think that helps. The other thing, the last thing I'll say is they don't negotiate the rate. So I was on a project with some others, and some weren't paid as much as I was because they did not negotiate. Now, remember what I said about depending on your followers and all your social capital does determine your rate. This is very true. But if you're even, you should pretty much be getting paid the same, I would think. If you're doing the same thing, your social following is the same, you should be getting paid the same thing. Now, I say should be, but what I'm saying is you should negotiate to get as much as you can.
Now, as a money coach, is that something you advise your clients and people you work with anyway to negotiate?
All day, every day. Yes, always. I tell this story of my very first job. I was so excited to get it. My very first job after college. I was so excited to get it. And what they offered me was above the amount I had in my head. And I thought I was on top of the world. And I just said, okay. And the HR lady was like, is that good with you? Are you sure? She gave me a way in. And I was like, yes. I was like, I was like, this is fine. This is great. Did not negotiate. And that was the last time I ever did that. Because I learned in my career, at the time I was just happy to get my foot in the door in a corporate job that I wanted. And I learned better. So I negotiate everything. Always. Never take the amount that they give you. And people think that if you try to negotiate that people won't want to work with you. And that's not true. They won't cancel the project because you asked for more money. Yes. They'll say yes or no. Right. Or they'll tell you what they can do. Now, if you keep, once they have said their final no, that is it. Now, don't be overly pushy. You've gone back a couple times. They've said what it is. You've got to make a decision at that point. So That's part of the being good to work with. You have to know when you've pushed as far as you can go. But I negotiate everything.
You know what? This woman I interviewed, Claire Wasserman. She's the founder of Ladies Get Paid, which is an organization all about equal pay for women. Mm-hmm. And she talked about what you just said about with negotiating, that people, women especially, often we think that if I negotiate on this, even if it's the first time around, like you're talking about second and third time, even the first time around, we're afraid to negotiate because we think if I ask for more, if I negotiate, this person is going to walk away. You know what I mean? It's going to be over, which we think sometimes about relationships too. If I say
that's true,
ain't gonna walk away, right? That's a whole other podcast. But
exactly.
That's something. I'm so glad you mentioned that because we have to all be reminded of that. And I've been guilty of this too, but I still try to get my nerve up. I might be nervous in the email or the call or whatever, but I gotta ask. Even sometimes just asking to get paid for whatever it is in general. Sometimes maybe people actually haven't even made the assumption that you'll do whatever it is for free. But if you don't say, oh, well, my rate is this, or how much do you pay for this, et cetera, they think, oh, well, maybe she'll just do it for free.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they'll go pay somebody else.
Right. They can pay that other person more because you're
yes.
not. Yes.
I'm going to tell you, because I serve in some organizations. I do a lot of nonprofit work. And one professional organization that I'm involved in, I was the VP of finance, and I signed the checks for the speakers. Mm-hmm. So I could see the rates that people were getting paid. And then I saw some people who were only charging minimal amounts. And I was like, they probably did not realize how much money they could have gotten because all these other speakers got top dollar. Mm-hmm. So listen, always
like they need your coaching, right?
Yes, they do.
So I'm wondering for you, and what advice you have around this. So of course, there are certain engagements and different things that I base things too on whether I have to travel, and there's all kinds of different reasons you can come up with, not reasons, different parameters, I guess you can put around what rate you want to charge. Do you think if you are someone who still does want to do, maybe there's certain things you want to do for free, do you think it's good to decide that, okay, if it's for either a certain organization or a certain type of audience, I'll do it for free. But these are the things that I charge for, just to eliminate in your own mind, knowing when you go into these conversations, this is, even if it's a nonprofit, it might be a fee unless it falls into a certain thing you've outlined. What do you think? How do you do it?
I agree with you. And this is what I tell people to do. Number one, set your fees. Set your fees. You're not going to, if you're just getting started, you won't be getting top dollar. You have to know where you are. Are you a beginner, mid-level, high? So you have to set your fees based on where you are in your speaking. Let's just say that, or whatever you're doing. The other thing is, I have organizations that I speak for free every year. They have been with me from day one. They have supported my work. They have sent me clients. They have done all kinds of things for me, and I support their mission. I speak for free for things that I'm very passionate about. I speak when, I believe in educating our youth. So when professors, not professors, but when teachers and different schools call me, if I can, I will. Otherwise, I refer. So I do exactly what you're mentioning. I know who I will speak for free for. Some women's organizations, it just depends on what it is and what my schedule is. But at the end of the day, there are some things that, you have to eat.
Right.
So, and even if you're working, treat your business as if this is the only way you eat. Even if you're working, if you treat your business that way, whatever you do, you will always make sure you get paid.
That is good for women who are, quote unquote, side hustling or building their business on the side right now. Still, and just to start from the beginning with that mentality, treat it like this is the only way you eat. Because I know I've been in position before. You're making this whatever 6-figure salary over here, so the business is almost treated like a side thing.
Yes,
you really want it to be your main thing, but you're not treating it that way.
Right. And if you're just starting out, of course, you're going to speak for free.
Right.
But let me tell you this. I say, depends on how hard you go at it. Don't speak for free for longer than a year. I really want to say 6 months, but I don't know. You'd have to really be doing several speaking engagements a month to hone that thing in. So if you're only doing once every couple months, speak for free for a year. But if you really want to hit it hard, speak for free for 6 months. Make sure that you are somewhere a couple times a month for that entire 6 months. Develop your 3 talks. What's your thing? If you're doing workshops, the talks are the keynotes. Develop your workshops and then set your fees. And there will be beginner fees, but it'll still be good money. So, and know who you will speak for free. I speak, like I said, those organizations that were with me from day one, that made sure when I was, trying to get money to speak, they would find stipends for me and that kind of thing.
That's right.
They can call me at any time, and I will show up.
What would you say for you as a money coach and even all the other things that you're doing has been the most successful part of your business as far as revenue generators?
At any time, so there's ebbs and flows, right?
So
1 minute the speaking could be doing really well. It could be hot. It could die off, and then the coaching. I really like the corporate brand work. That work is very good. The speaking is what generates clients. And so there's so many things. I want to make sure I answer your question, but there's so many ebbs and flows that, so the speaking, the writing, it can be very good if you keep it consistent. If you keep a few clients, writing is good. So the speaking, the coaching, and then I'll say definitely the brand ambassador work. I love that.
Okay.
Probably because it's fun, like I said.
Right. But also, too, for everyone, I think a lot of us hear it now more often about having multiple streams of income, obviously.
Yes.
So I was curious for you because for all the women listening who are coaches or consultants, et cetera, just to have an idea of categories to look at where there are opportunities.
Yes. So let me speak to those ladies. You can build a business, coaching, consulting, 100%. People do it all the time. Glenda, I mentioned before, she had a 6-figure business just doing financial coaching. You can do that. If you find that you need to always measure, right? Always measure your business. Know what's going on. If you find that business is tapering off, you always want multiple streams. I know we talk about this all the time, and it's kind of like the word to use, but it's just real. So if everybody can't speak, they don't like it. You don't have to do that. Do you want to write? You have to find other ways to make money if your coaching and consulting is not bringing in the dollars. With a lot of it, sometimes you can get big contracts, and that might be good. Then you don't need other streams. But if you're not in a situation where you're getting big contracts, that you're working with corporations or organizations and they've got you on retainer or that kind of thing, look for other ways. Doesn't have to be speaking. It can be writing. How are you going to get your message out there? What other projects, what other things are you going to add that relate to your business? That's the other thing. I don't want people to be all over the place, because you call them and their voicemail has them as 20 million different things. Mm-hmm. So what can you add that complements what you do? And I'll give you an example. I am not a career coach. I don't want to be a career coach. But I do a session called Rock Your Career, Rock Your Money Chat. That is one of the most fun sessions for me to do. I do it for corporations and organizations, soft skills, all this stuff. So I had to ask myself, like, Dorethia, you don't want to really be a career coach. But career is very closely tied to money. So I don't have to be a career coach. But the truth of the matter has been that with my coaching clients, I do end up doing a little career coaching. So I just did the workshop. I just do the talk. And it's fun. And I don't have to try to rebrand and create this whole career coaching piece of my business. But what I connected was career and money. Mm-hmm. And those two are related. So you just kind of got to think about how you can add things, because things will change in your business. Things will change in your industry. Yep. Some things will go away. There will be new things. Stay on top of those new things and see how you need to be flexible.
And as I have learned, as my business continues to grow, as we said, have multiple things going, but some things, like you said, things change. So some things at some point are going to be high. So for me, consulting and things like that, other things might be at a lower, high, meaning amount of income or revenue, right. I should say. Other things might be a little bit either, I won't say lower or less than that other thing, but still it's just like these different things are bringing in money every month, consistently. So don't think I have to create multiple streams. They all have to be $100,000. I mean, that's great, right. Ladies, if you can do that, rock on. But you know what I mean? It's also knowing that things are going to come in at different levels, and that's a good thing.
That is, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because what they want to do is create a dollar figure. Okay, this is the dollar I need to hit. These are all the things I'm going to do to hit that dollar figure.
Oh, so like a certain amount every month or
yes,
whatever.
Every month. This is a certain amount of money I want to bring in every month.
Right.
Now, how am I going to do it? I'm going to speak at 2 universities. I'm going to do so many coaching sessions. And I know it's not like it just comes out of the air. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you set a goal to do these things, and then now you go forth and advertise and do whatever it takes to bring them in.
Yep. Yeah. I do think, like you said, it doesn't just happen when you speak it. But for me, I mean, I've learned speaking it. I start with speaking it, writing it down, and then working to it. I agree. What I want to do. These are I even did the multiple stream thing. These are the areas that I want to have as part of my business. I did it early in this year. 6 out of the 7 have become reality. And
that is awesome.
Having that list and work. Now, like I said, all of them aren't 6 figures blown out the water, but some of them are. And that's a great thing. So it's like you got to have that list. Like, I think
that's right.
Smart. Like you said, the dollar figure, then what are going to be the bricks to build up to that?
That's right. That's
excellent. Right. All right. I'm enjoying this conversation. Yes.
Me too.
So what would you say, Dorethia, entrepreneurship has taught you about yourself as a woman?
Entrepreneurship has taught me that I always need a project. I have sat down, as many of your listeners probably have too, who've been at this for a little while, and I've said, what if you didn't do this? What would you do? And nothing is there. Nothing. And so I know that I need this. I know that this is who I am. This is what I do. I can't ever get rid of it. Even in the hard times when I'm ready, I'm in a corner rocking and praying. I'm like, it has taught me, it has shown me that this is what I was made for.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was made for. That is what entrepreneurship has shown me, because there have been many times when things were very low, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you could be on the beach somewhere. What are you doing? But it's all about your calling too. I was called to reach people, to help them with their money, to help them grow their businesses. Money was first, though. The money thing was first, because there's so many people in our communities that don't, people talk about them like, why did they do this and why did they do that? They don't know. They didn't know, just like I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my calling to make sure that I reach as many people as I can, to tell them that they don't have to live paycheck to paycheck, that they don't have to do what their mother did or their dad did, that they can break the cycle of lack and brokenness in their families. That I had somebody tell me once that you couldn't be debt free. And I've talked to people, I've interviewed people who are. So I need to reach those other people to say, you can be debt free. It's not always going to be like that. So that's what entrepreneurship has taught me, that this is my calling. This is what I was made to do. And I'm here for it all.
Right. So in closing, if you think over your life and career, and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be, and what would you say?
One person? Oh,
One
no.
person.
Oh, my God. There are so many. One person? Oh, my God. Elaine, I can't with one person. There were so many. I'm literally trying to think of one person. I can't. What are you doing to me? I can't.
Yes, you can. Okay, go ahead.
I can't. Okay, what were you going to say?
Nope.
You got to help me here.
Nope, you were about to say somebody. You were about to say it.
One person, and this has to be somebody that I interacted with.
No,
it can be somebody that I watched.
Anybody.
Okay. I'm gonna say Glenda Bridgeforth, and this is why. So after I found Dave Ramsey, I was looking to see how I could build my business. Back then, there were not a lot of financial coaches, period. That's first of all. And I looked up financial coach. She was the only one I found, the only one. I wish I still had this picture. I printed up in color the header from her website. I put it, my wall at the time in my bedroom was my vision board. I stuck that on the wall. And until I became a financial coach, I kept it up there. She was the only one, and definitely the only Black woman. There were no other Black woman financial coaches when I searched for financial coach. No women. I didn't even find that many men outside of Dave Ramsey. And the Larry Burkett, the Crown Financial, all that good stuff. So I'm going to say her, because I saw somebody who did it, who was doing it, was killing it. And I wanted to be her. And again, you see, she is one of my dearest friends now. Isn't that something?
See, yes.
Isn't that something?
Now that was good. Now that was worth the wait, right? That was good. That's excellent. Now, and she will love to hear that. That's beautiful. I love that. Does she know that?
She does.
Okay.
She does. I have told her several times. Every time I get a chance, she does.
That's awesome.
She doesn't, she's humble. She's like, oh, Dorethia,
But listen, I love that you're friends with her now, but your question earlier, does it have to be someone you interacted with? That's something that I've been learning as people who do, friends or other people who tell me, people are listening to the podcast, I think, oh, is anyone getting anything out of this? And then someone might email and say, oh, you helped me do, or the person you had on helped me with X. So you never know just how you're touching people, but they may, hopefully, which is what this podcast is all about, feel support. So you were supported by her long before you knew her, right?
Before I knew her, and never expected. It wasn't even a goal of mine to meet her.
Right.
Never expected to even meet her. 15 years later, we end up at the same church.
And then you've been friends since.
Yes. Yeah, we serve on the financial empowerment ministry. Yep.
Excellent. So now what are the ways that we can support you? Tell everyone your website, about your book again, social media. I'll
Absolutely.
have links to everything, but just so we can hear it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So listen, everybody visit DorotheaKelly.com. My name is spelled DORETHIA, Kelly, KELLY.com. I've got everything you need up there. I've got a free course. I've got my coaching packages are there. Everything about me, all my craziness is there. The blog, everything. So DorotheaKelly.com. And I have the blog is themoneychat.com. So definitely go there and visit. But listen, if you guys want personal finance or business coaching, I have VIP days, I have everything. Send an email to hello@DorotheaKelly.com and just mention Support is Sexy. I will give you guys 20% off of any coaching package that you want.
Oh, nice. Thank
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies, make sure you reach out. We love to support our guests and take advantage of all this expertise. So hello@DorotheaKelly.com.
Absolutely. The book is on the website, Money Chat, the book. Definitely check that out. You can purchase that on Amazon.
Excellent. Dorothea, this was great. And as I talked about before we started recording, everyone, Dorothea and I have known each other via social media for at least 4 years.
Yes.
Maybe longer, right?
Yes.
She's been a long time supporter. I just really appreciate you and all the work that you are doing. It's great to hear your voice in person, have a conversation, and to be able to celebrate and share with everyone what you do as well. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. This was so much fun.
Excellent. Now, before you go, what's a parting piece of advice from you to our listeners about anything?
A parting piece of advice. Okay. Create a financial life plan. I am a big proponent. I teach on the financial life plan. We have a plan for every area of our lives. Create a financial life plan. Get a binder, set goals, set due dates and deadlines, and create your financial life plan.
All right. I hope you got a lot of information and a lot of things to think about from that conversation with Dorethia. Make sure to find out more about her, to get in touch with her, that you just go to supportissexypodcast.com, go to that search icon at the top and just type in Dorethia, DORETHIA. Her show notes page will pop up with links, resources, all the resources she mentioned in this episode, all those great books, and the ways to get in touch with her. Supportissexypodcast.com and just search Dorethia. Make sure that you and I are connected on social media as well. Make sure you follow @Elaine Fluker @SupportIsSexy. I would love to see you listening to the podcast. If you want to tag me in anything, I would love to hear what you think, how it's going for you, how is your business going. Let me know @Elaine Fluker @SupportIsSexy. It's always great to connect with you. Now, until we chat again, what I want you to remember is you deserve support. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.